Hello and welcome back to the channel. We haven't done one of these football review shows in a while, but we're just going to drop one this week. Look at some of the results from last week, including the massive Sunday League clash in East London between Baiteze and SE Dons. And of course, we'll do our Barnet League roundup as usual. But starting off, the big game, obviously, in East London, Baiteze overcoming SE Dons in the FA National Sunday Cup. Very good result for Baiteze. I saw a video that said that they were the underdogs, while people predicting that SE Dons would win. And to be honest, most of those people were from South London, so obviously they're going to have an allegiance to the South London team. But I thought, a lot of people were kind of dismissing Baiteze. They did beat SE Dons in the pre-season, and they've had some very good results, this season as well. So I thought it'd be maybe a 50-50 game, and I didn't actually go to the game. But from what I heard, it was a blitz in the first half from Baiteze, and I heard they thoroughly deserved the win. Obviously, you're getting a lot of banter back and forth on, Twitter and Instagram and other things as well. But at the end of the day, these guys are all kind of mates, or they've got huge respect for each other, and it's jovial things as well. Obviously, disappointing for the Dons. They now have only 2 competitions to look forward to, and hopefully they can still, win the Kent Cup and the Orpington and Bromley League. I think that will be their minimum now from this season. Obviously, they'll be hugely disappointed. They won a large run in this competition, and obviously losing in the London Cup as well. But, they're the Dons. They're one of the best teams out there. Even though I get people saying, oh, but they lost here, they lost there. They're still one of the best teams. They've won Kent Cups. They've won league titles. They get to they've got to the quarterfinals of the London Cup. That's the London Sunday Challenge Cup. We always discuss this. If you don't bring your A game in any of these elite competitions, you're going to lose. And they got blitzed in the first half, and that's what happens sometimes. You have to hold an L. It's unfortunate for them, because a lot of people hate the Dons. I don't. I love the Dons. I love what they stand for. I love the people around the club as well. All fantastic people. When I went to the Paul Picard Cup final against Bickley, everyone was extremely friendly, and it's just a family club. It's a valued club, and some people are probably jealous of the Dons and stuff like that, but yeah, they're a great bunch of guys, and they do some great stuff, especially through the Exide charity work as well. And so we're gonna obviously talk about Baiteze now. Some controversial things maybe, but the decision to move from the Hackney and Leighton League to the Essex Corinthian League is maybe starting to bear fruit here. Obviously, last season it was very unique as Mile and Baiteze was still going. They obviously decided to pause and take half the season off, and maybe they will or will not come back. We don't know yet, but hopefully they come back. Hopefully, because they are an asset to the Marshes as well, and the Marshes do need, strong teams, to represent the Hackney and Leighton League. There are a few very good teams there in the Hackney and Leighton League, but the prestige of Mile and Baiteze would be, welcomed at the Hackney Marshes. Let's talk about Baiteze. Obviously, moved over to the Essex Corinthian League. Playing obviously different teams, higher caliber teams as well. But let's just talk about some of the major factors. Obviously, Justin's a fantastic manager as well, but I feel like Bill has done an excellent job as well with the group of Baiteze boys. Obviously, it took a bit of time, to gel in for everyone, but I feel like this season he's really, grown into the role. He's done excellent. Obviously, the recruitment as well from the Baiteze boys has been fantastic. You can tell the difference between maybe squads of a few years ago and this squad. Very good, high quality, high caliber players all over the pitch, experienced youth. You got players who can do a job at right back. As I said, it's not really a job. It's let's see, that's the thing. Alex comes on and plays right back for 5 minutes, even though he's a striker or left back. He does a job for the team, and that's putting your ego aside and showing you're a team player. And that's really a good strength I'm seeing from Baiteze this season. It looks like the unity is very strong, as well as, the quality on the pitch as well. Maybe in a few years ago, maybe they didn't have the quality, even though they had really good players. They didn't have that strength in depth. Maybe they had a few weaknesses, a few holes in the team. But this season, they've been very impressive. They've picked up a lot of really good teams. They did lose to Hatch Lane, but they got that game back. They've beaten Oakwood. Oakwood are a very good team in the Barnet League as well. And now they've beaten SE Dons. So, Baiteze squad, they're still in the London Cup as well. So, obviously, they've got that to look forward to. And for me, they should be aiming towards getting a few trophies this season. And I think it'd be a very, very positive move for them. Congratulations. And the thing is, with all these kind of jibes as well, is people don't realise that they brought out 2,000 fans to East London to watch a Sunday League game. I know a lot of these players obviously get paid on a Saturday to, play in front of crowds, so they're not going to be fazed by stuff like that. They're used to playing in front of crowds. But to bring out 2,000 people, to entertain them in that way, and to show a kind of, we can do this. Look at what we've done. We've built this up as a brand, in front of 2,000 people, in front of people who can relate to these players and say, oh yeah, he's just a normal guy. Maybe he's a semi-pro footballer, but I can aspire to be him because I can relate to him. Whereas if you go to a Premier League game, it's not as real, where you're in a stadium of 40,000 or 50,000 and you don't really get that up-close personal experience with a player, so to speak. And they live in a different, world. They live in a different world. Ronaldo and, all these players live in a different world to us, and that's a bit different to a player like Big G, or a player like Zach Ansah, or a Teniola. Of course they've got, different lives to me, but they're fairly similar. They've still got to go, do a job. Maybe personally, Big G's on TV, does TV work. Alex probably does media work as well. So a lot of them do, jobs in their spare time. It's not all about football with them. They're relatable human beings rather than big megastars. And that's the key thing, that the kids that were there on Sunday can take away, really, is that they can aspire to be like people like Big G, people like Teniola, people like Donny Jones. That's the thing. That's what teams like Baiteze, what teams like Dons want to, ultimately achieve. They want to inspire people in their community and across the world, you know, to kind of, you know, live out your dreams. And that's very important. So moving on, we are going to look at the Barnet League. So we're going to start off with the results section. Premier Division, Hornsey and Highgate. They did win last week. They picked up their first win, but they were back to losing ways. A very narrow defeat against Trabzonspor UK. 1-0 to Trabzonspor, who recovered from their 8-1 thrashing against Highgate Albion the week before. Park Rolls picking up a nice win over Atletico Cerezo 3-2. And the big result was Oakwood going down 2-1 to the Wrong'uns. Very, very surprising result, although the Wrong'uns seem to have Oakwood's number. I don't know this season why. I think Oakwood are top of the table and the Wrong'uns are second bottom, so I expected it to be one-way traffic. But the Wrong'uns seem to have Oakwood's number and they pick up a very valuable win. I think they're joint second bottom now. They're only, you know, in the relegation zone on goal difference, so very big result for the Wrong'uns. Let's see if they can get out of the mire in the Premier Division. In the Championship, the Bandits 2, Heavy Hitters 2, and Westbourne United look like they're running away with the title. It was the Bandits to lose, and they've kind of slipped up. Obviously, they can't see out of the ballies that they're wearing on their badge. I honestly do not know what that badge is about. Sorry, man. I just don't. But the Bandits obviously slipping up again against Heavy Hitters. Very decent team, Heavy Hitters, and it's not been the best of seasons for Panda. Another defeat, 4-0 against Westbourne United, who obviously, Westbourne United, the Bandits top two, you know, showing their class this season. A lot of good teams in the Championship, and Panda have just not fit in really with the rest of the teams. The rest of the teams in that middle cluster seem to be playing entertaining games, and Panda seem to be the whipping boys of the league. Maybe it's that kind of, they've not played Sunday League before and they've only played showcase YouTube games, and the reality of getting up on a Sunday. Obviously, some of their players have probably played Sunday League. I'm presuming most of them have, but it's different, you know, coming into a league and playing teams that have, you know, played week in, week out for 2-3 seasons. Like the Bandits, they played for 2 seasons. Westbourne United, 2 seasons. Mehmet Chika, very experienced Heavy Hitters, have players from, you know, the Wrong'uns. So they've, you know, played for years. You know, I remember playing the Wrong'uns in the Edmonton League as well. So they've had very experienced players. So it's very different, you know, playing YouTube games to playing Sunday League games. And hopefully Panda stick at it. I think they will. Maybe they have to drop down a division, you know, and see if they can handle the quality there. In Div 1, we had the one game. The game of the week was top against second. London Wednesday picking up a win, and a very important win over Highgate Albion Reserves. Away win, 2-0. I was surprised. I was surprised not more in the result, just the manner. A 2-0 win. I thought Highgate Albion would at least get a couple of goals. London Wednesday have a fantastic attack, free flowing as well. I wouldn't put my money in that there just being 2 goals in that game, but fantastic result for London Wednesday. They're probably the best attacking team we faced. Highgate Albion Reserves were all round probably the best team we faced, but very good result for London Wednesday, and I think that keeps Highgate Albion at bay. I think it actually gives London Wednesday a little lead going into the next round of games, because Highgate Albion obviously have a few games in hand over them, so I think they could have levelled London Wednesday's points, but obviously now London Wednesday create a gap. So moving on to Div 2, Anatolians 2, North London Athletic 3, AFC Edmonton 2, Whetstone Wanderers under-23s 5, and GTFA continue their awful start to the season. They lose 2-1 to Trent Park. Div 2 is looking like a two-horse race for the title between North London Athletic and Whetstone Wanderers under 23s. I didn't expect North London Athletic to be up there this year. I thought Whetstone Wanderers under 23s, I heard very good things about them in the pre-season. I expected them to be challenging for the title, and obviously they've done a little bit better than I even thought they would. They are currently top of the table. I think both teams are unbeaten. So moving on to Div 3, Continental 6, AFC Muswell Hill 2, and North London Wanderers continue their pursuit of the title, 2-1 win over Shentry Athletic. Continental are very weird. They either batter teams or lose. So they're a very polarising team. This week it was a very impressive result for them. And North London Wanderers continue their good form. You know, they've been very good this season, and I think they'll end up picking up the Div 3 title this year. And deservedly so. I think they've easily been the best team in the league. Moving on to Div 4, Inter Mill Hill 3, Maida Villa 2, Brotherhood 2, Barnet South 0, and Camden FC 1, Highgate Albion 3rd 3. Into Div 5, we're coming to the end of Div 5. I'm just going to check on the title race in Div 5 here. I've got up the table. Cockfosters are 7 points clear currently. They won against... Who they beat? They beat South Tottenham United 3-1. Good result for them. They are currently top of the table, but we'll look at the tables in a minute. North Atletico... Div 6 now. North Atletico 1, Edmonton Rovers 2. I actually watched this game on... if you haven't, go and check out Edmonton Rovers on YouTube. I think they're one of the first YouTube teams as well. They don't do a traditional YouTube style where you have a commentator and kind of, you know, characters and stuff like that, like SE Dons, where you kind of have pre-match interviews with the players and other stuff like that. They're actually more of a kind of traditional broadcast-based team. So you get the lineups, and then you get the match, and then you get little statistics at the end. They used to have a commentator. They used to, I think, have a pay system where you got a guy who done the commentary, and but they don't currently. They have a very young squad, so obviously I think most of them probably studying, so the cost would probably be too high for them. But this is very good. I do like what Tony Mackay's done with the squad. He's got a few experienced players, I think 2 or 3, but ultimately this is a team full of youngsters, full of 16, 17-year-olds, maybe 18-year-olds as well. But this team is very young. They pick up a 2-1 win over North Atletico, who had been playing well recently. The funny thing here is there was a decision in this game where a player got sent off for North Atletico for having a go at the ref. He protested his innocence. The ref actually straight red carded him as well. I was surprised by that. Obviously, it must have been bad enough for the ref to get out the red card straight away. Sometimes in that situation, you think maybe a sin bin would be more appropriate, but obviously I wasn't there and I didn't know what he said to the ref. Hopefully it wasn't, derogatory and stuff like that, because you don't want to see that on a football pitch. But the funniest thing is that before the free kick that was awarded, where the guy got obviously sent off for dissent, there was a horrible tackle. I don't know how the guy escaped a yellow card. It was an absolutely horrible tackle. And I was shocked because I was watching it back and I was like, that guy didn't make the tackle. How is he getting a red card? And he got a red card for dissent, and Edmonton Rovers went on and win their second game of the season, So congratulations to them. Obviously, it's a learning curve for probably the next 2 or 3 seasons, and I hope these young kids go at it and keep at it as well, because you can't get too downhearted by losing a lot of games. Early in the season, they were getting beaten 7s and 8s and 9s and stuff like that. They were having glimmers of moments. They've got some very decent young players, but obviously it's going to take time for them to grow, into themselves as a team as well. They're a fantastic unit as a team, but they just lack the experience and lack the quality that these other teams do have. So also AFC Muswell Hill seconds, picking up a nice win over Chefchaouen Berbers, 7-1. Armenian Youth Association always also putting in 7 as well against New Barnet. Highgate Albion Falls beating Northwest Wolves 3-0. And in the cup action, Mehmetçik Galata beating Northumberland Park Rangers 8-1. Peckenspor beating Whetstone Wanderers Old Boys. In the Junior Challenge Cup, EC Galaxy picking up an away win against Fireside. AC Finchley beating Mill Hill Club de Football. In the Intermediate Cup, Grange Park 1, AFC Rose 5. Up the boys. Big win for the boys. I actually played a half magically and kept a clean sheet magically and made some good saves magically. I say that like I'm a shit keeper. I had a bad game earlier this season, but I'm a pretty good keeper. I'd say that myself. I'm not going to try and big myself up and say should be playing in the Premier Division, even though I probably could. It was good to get out on the pitch, despite being, I do get a little bit nervous, but that's mainly just because I don't want to let the team down and stuff like that. It's not a kind of, being uncomfortable in my ability. I know I'm a good keeper. But moving on, Gadaris Town 6, Locomotive Thunder 0. This was actually the game next to us. I love talking about the game next to us as well, which is quite funny, as a player. You always look over sometimes at the game next to you, see how it's going. It kind of keeps you in tune, in tick with your game, because kind of lose focus sometimes. But yeah, Kadaris Town just golfing class over Locomotive Thunder, 6-0 is probably, they might be disappointed. I thought they'd aim towards 8 or 9. Yeah. And United House 2, Gospel Oak 5. Good win for Gospel Oak there. Into the Junior Cup, Sopranos 3, Arness Rangers 2, Underdogs 8, Gower Phoenix 1. In the Barnet Sunday Football League Shield, which is bottom 2 divisions, Enfield Albion 2, New Copper 3. And a lovely game, 11-goal thriller in the Invitational Cup. I honestly do not know who's in the Invitational Cup. I think it's Div 5, and I heard it was Div 5 and Championship teams. And I've seen Hornsey and Highgate are playing the fixture, and they're a Premier Division team. So I'm not sure what happened there. The Roving Reporters 5, Tauflik 6. In the FA Sunday Cup, Highgate Albion getting an away walkover against Falcons. Away flyover, more like, against Falcons. I don't get it though, with, teams like that. Obviously, these are the premier teams in the country, and it must cost a pretty penny to, enter this competition. So I'm hoping it's not like health related thing, because that would be disappointing for a team like Falcons. That would be disappointing for them, to enter the cup and then having to pull out because of COVID. That would be sad. But to enter that and then just away walkover is a bit disappointing. In the Middlesex Premier Cup, the Takers picking up a win over Abbey, one of their rivals actually from Northwest London. Takers are actually the current holders of the Middlesex Premier Cup. So, very good result for them there. And Gower All-Stars also going through. They beat Ivy Leaf in their game. In the Middlesex Junior Cup, Enfield United picking up a great win on penalties. I think they've won every single round on penalties. I know they beat Ammonia Youth on penalties. I don't know if they won in the last round on penalties, but They won on penalties here, so congratulations to them on that. Turcomanoi 0, North London Colts 2, also in the Junior Cup. And in the Junior Trophy, Northwest Galacticos 6, Banstead Eagles 5. I think that might be Banstead Rovers reserve team, maybe, or I don't know. It might just be a normal team called Banstead Eagles. It probably is. Yeah. So we're going to look at the fixtures for this week in the Premier Division. Gower Phoenix. No, Gower Phoenix. Gower Phoenix probably don't wish they were in the Premier Division. Gower All Stars face Trabzonspor UK, and the Wrong-uns face Oakwood in a return match from last week. In the Championship, Alexandra Knights take on Zaza. In Div 1, it's Enfield United facing United House in the United Derby. It's London Wednesday taking on Peckenspor. And into Div 2, it's AFC Edmonton. They face Locomotive Thunder. Grange Park take on GTFA. In Div 3, it's London Orient versus Continental. It's North London Colts taking on North London Wanderers. Shentry taking on Sopranos. And Whetstone Wanderers Old Boys taking on Underdogs. In Div 4, Brotherhood Cosy take on Camden FC. Barnet Salsa take on Cricklewood. Highgate Albion Thirds take on Gower Phoenix. NLR take on Intermill Hill. In Div 5, it's South Tottenham United taking on Roving Reporters. Talflick take on Fireside. And Northwest Galacticos take on Cock Fosters. In Div 6, it's just Chow and Berbers taking on AFC Muswell Hill Seconds. Edmonton Rovers taking on North Athletico in a rematch from last week. And it's New Barnet taking on Enfield Albion. In the cup action, Roger Jones Senior Challenge Cup, Atletico Cerezo take on Park Royals. Westbourne United take on Heavy Hitters. Mehmetçik Galata take on Takers. Very, very good game there. Into the Intermediate Cup, AC Finchley take on Trent Park. Mill Hill Club de Football take on Northumberland Park Rangers. And North London Athletic take on Anatolians. In the Junior Cup, it's AFC Muswell Hill facing Maida Villa. And in the Invitational Cup, it's EC Galaxy taking on the Bandits. And Hornsey and Highgate taking on Panda. I mean, Hornsey and Highgate are probably relegated, but they don't have to play in the Championship Cup this year. In the Middlesex Premier Cup, Hammersmith Town, very good team, taking on Highgate Albion. That should be a very, very good game. I hope Roots is down to watch that game because I want to see that film. That is a very, very big game there in the Middlesex Premier Cup. Two teams that are worthy of making a final in that competition. In the Middlesex Intermediate Cup, AFC Rose, my boys, take on Ashford Town, brackets, Middlesex. Larkspur Rovers reserves take on Highgate Albion reserves. And Whetstone Wanderers under-23s take on Gospel Oak. Arness Rangers take on Armenian Youth Association in the Middlesex Junior Trophy. Highgate Albion Falls take on Woodlands United. Coney Hatch Athletic take on Drayton 70. And that is the end of the Barnet Sunday League roundup bit of the show. Actually, it's not, because we are going to digest the tables. Obviously, if I was on Zoom, I would do it. I would show you the tables, but just imagine them because it's better. Premier Division table, AFC Oakwood, they're still top. 21 points from 9 games, 7 wins and 2 draws, but that's a massive loss that they had on Sunday, and they need to win. They need to beat the Wrong-uns on Sunday. Takers in second, 19 points from 10 games. They're 2 points behind Oakwood, but they have played a game more. Trabzonspor UK, they're in third on 18 points from 9 games. They're only 3 points behind Oakwood. But here's the danger team, Highgate Albion. They're on 17 points from 8 games, so they can go 1 point behind Oakwood. They still have to play Oakwood twice as well, so they will be really in the hunt. And them two games will be very important in determining who wins that Premier Division title. Highgate Albion always seem to find a way when it comes to the Premier Division. In fifth, Park Rolls, just a Park Rolls season, really. 5 wins, 5 losses. They're just neutral. Park Rolls should play in Switzerland. They're so neutral. They seem like a lovely bunch of lads as well. Seem like a great bunch of lads, Park Royals. In 6th, Atletico Cerezo, they're on 13. They're joined on 13 by the Wrong'uns. I didn't actually know this, but the Wrong'uns are not in the relegation zone now. They have just climbed out of it. They are in 7th, 11 games played, 4 wins, a draw and 6 losses. Then Gower All-Stars, who now are in the relegation zone, on 12. And Hornsey and Highgate, they are not high. They're low. They should be called Hornsey and Lowgate because they're bottom of the league. Sorry, Hornsey and Highgate. I actually like Hornsey and Highgate as well. Into the Championship, Westbourne United, they're top of the table. 27 points from 11 games. Then the Bandits on 24. Heavy Hitters on 20, but they played a game more. Then Zaza in 4th place. Then Mehmetchik Galata in 5th. Alexandra Knights in 6th. Then Real Menza in 7th. And then Panda in 8th. I don't know if a team's actually dropped out. I think a team may have dropped out here. I'm sure there was actually 9 teams before. But, yeah. 8 teams in this division. They are playing in the Invitational Cup. But Real Menza, they haven't got a league game left. And it's the 21st of January. So, obviously, they'll be playing in Cup. I think the Barnet League have organised the Invitational Cup for Championship and Div 5 teams. And that's why they have less teams in their division. So, moving on into Div 1. London Wednesday are 12 points clear at the top of the table. They have 36 points from their 13 games. They only have 5 games left this season as well. In second place, are Highgate Albion Reserves. They're 12 points back. They do have 3 games in hand. But London Wednesday only have to win their remaining games. They don't have to play Highgate Albion Reserves again. In third place, the Kadaris Town. They're on 19 points from 10 games. Gospel Oak are on 16 points from 10 games. Peck and Spore, they're on 12 points from 10 games. Then are us, AFC Rose. We're on 10 points from 7 games. So we could move up potentially into 3rd or 4th with wins. Then come Enfield United. They're on 10 points from 8 games as well. Well, they played a game more than us, but they're also on 10 points. Then are AC Finchley. They're in 8th place on 6 points from 7 games. Then the bottom 2, Northumberland Park Rangers, are on 4 points from 11 games. United House, they're on 4 points as well from 10 games. So it's not looking too good for the bottom 2 in the division. Moving on into Div 2. We have discussed this earlier in the results bit. Whetstone Wanderers are currently top. Whetstone Wanderers under 23s and North London Athletic have the same identical record. 8 wins and a draw from their 9 games. Then come Mill Hill Club, the football, 6 points back on 19. Trent Park on 17 from 9. Anatolians, they are on 16 points from their 12 games. Then at AFC Edmonton on 11 points from 11 games. Oakwood Reserves on 10 points from 8 games. Grange Park on 6 points from 10 games. Then a GTFA, 5 points from 11 games. And Locomotive Thunder, bottom of the table on 4 points from 10 games. Moving on to Division 3, North London Wanderers looking good. 31 points from their 13 games. Then comes Sopranos in second place, 18 points from 10 games. Then a Continental, they've got 5 games in hand on North London Wanderers. If they win them all, they will go level on points. They are on 16 points from 8 games. Whetstone Wanderers Old Boys on 16 points from 10 games. Another team that could technically go top if they win all their games in hand is North London Colts. They've got 13 points from 6 games. So they've got 7 games in hand over North London Wanderers. So they can obviously go to 34 points if they win them games in hand. But obviously, you want the points rather than the games in hand sometimes. And this is one of the situations, It would have to take 6 wins out of 7 for North London Colts to actually draw level with North London Wanderers. But if they win this weekend, they can make a bit of a dent, a very, very good dent in that gap between North London Wanderers, because obviously they will not have that game, will not use a game in hand. They'll both have played another game, and the gap would be 3 points. So a very important game, I think, more for North London Colts. I think it's a very important game for them this weekend. In 6th is AFC Muswell Hill on 10 points from 11 games. Then Shentry, it's not looking like a good season for Shentry, They did pip us to the title last year, but obviously all them players dipped. All the good players dipped to Atletico Cerezo, and now they are 7th in Div 3. Disappointing. In 8th place are the Underdogs. They're on 8 points from 11 games. And in London Orient, they are bottom of the table on 7 points from 12 games. Moving on to Div 4, Brotherhood Cozzy, top of the table, unbeaten. They've only let in 8 goals from their 11 games. And that's very impressive for Sunday League. To let in 8 goals from 11 games. Fantastic for them. They're on 27 points. Then a Cricklewood on 26, but they play 2 games in hand. 2 games more than Brotherhood. In 3rd place are Highgate Albion, thirds. They're actually close. They're 3 points off Brotherhood at the moment. Same games as well. So look out for Highgate Albion, thirds. I think realistically they're the team that could actually challenge for the title. Then Barnet Salsa, 22 points in 12 games. Maida Villa, 18 from 13. Azza Camden FC. Arnish Rangers, they're currently on 12 points from 7 games. Then at Intermill Hill, they won this weekend. They're out of the bottom 2. And the bottom 2 are NLR, 9 points from 14 games. So it's not looking good for them. I'm pretty sure they won, I think it was the Junior Cup last season. So obviously they haven't built from winning the cup. They've regressed and they're in the bottom 2 this year. And last place, are Gower Phoenix. They need to start rising the table or they'll be playing in Div 5 next season. So moving on to Div 5, Cockfosters are top of the table, 29 points with 3 games left. EC Galaxy have 4 games left. They're on 22 points, so they can get to 34. So Cockfosters will need a couple wins to make sure EC Galaxy can't catch them. In 3rd place is Northwest Galacticos. They've had a run in the London Cup, or the Middlesex Cup, one of them two. They can still feasibly catch Cockfosters as well. They can get to 28 points with their games in hand and obviously have the potential to overtake them. But same situation as North London Colts and North London Wanderers in Div 3. You'd rather have the points in the bag. And a team like Cockfosters, they haven't lost this season as well. So you don't see them dropping too many points. They've only dropped 4 points this season. So obviously Cockfosters in a very good position here to win the Div 5 title. In 4th place, South Tottenham United on 11 from 9. Tauflick 11 from 10. New Copper, they've got 9 points from 10 games. Fireside 7 points from 10 games. And it's been a very bad season for Roving Reporters. No points from their 7 games. It's really been a weird downturn because they actually won the Div 4 title. They went to Div 3. They got battered. They moved down to Div 5. They're getting battered. So moving on now to Div 6. Muswell Hill second top, 31 points from 13 games. Enfield Albion have a couple games in hand on them. They're 5 points back, so they can overtake them. Third place, Armenian Youth Association on 22 points. Then a Highgate Albion fourth. They're on 22 points from 9 games, so they have a couple of games in hand over Enfield Albion. So they can overtake Enfield Albion. They can overtake Muswell Hill seconds as well if they win them games in hand. Fifth place, the Chefchaouen Berbers, 15 points from 10 games. Then Colniach Athletic, 13 points from 10. North Athletico on 12 from 12. Northwest Wolves, 11 from 13. New Barnet on 7 from 10. And then Edmonton Rovers, bottom of the table on 6 points. If you enjoyed the video, if you didn't even enjoy the video, if you made it this far, please leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe. Tell a friend. You know, it really helps the channel grow. And I'll be back soon with some more content. Thanks for watching.